Hi everybody and welcome back. Now in this lecture we're going to look at making a list from a file. So as you can see, I've created a new file here called Making a List from a File, and I've just given it the title Making a List from a File. In previous lectures we've been using with open to start our programs. And when we use with, the file object returned by open is only available inside the with block that contains it. If we want to retain access to a file's contents outside the with block, we can store the file's lines in a list inside the block and then work with that list. Let's look at an example that stores the lines of movies line by line.txt in a list inside the with block and then prints the lines outside the block. And how do we get started? Well, we start with our file name variable equals movies line by line. I should probably shorten this down, but no matter, it's what we have for the moment. .txt. Next we have with open file name, so our variable in there, as file object. So nothing new so far. Colon. Next, lines equals file object dot read lines. Brackets. And then we remove an indent, so for line in lines colon print line dot strip. Brackets. Now let's run this and see what we get. There we go. Now this looks like the same output as the last lecture, and in appearance wise it is, but now this information is all stored in a list, and we can start to modify and do things with this list that we've seen in previous lectures, such as work on the first 5 films in the list, work on the last 5 of the list, or start searching through the list. But we'll look at how to manipulate information and things like that a little later on. So let's just run through this program and have a look at some of the bits that we may not have seen before. So at line 8 here, the readLine method takes each line from the file and stores it in a list. This list is then stored in lines, which we can continue to work with after the with block ends. Here at line 10, we're using a simple for loop to print each line from lines. So although the output looks the same, it is very different from the previous lecture. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next lecture.